Now starting the March 2nd, 2023 Mount Pleasant Planning Commission meeting. I'm trying not to butcher your name this time. Ms.
Povidaiko.
Povidaiko, I apologize. Will you take roll?
Yes. Devaney,
Here.
Frederick,
Here.
Havels,
Here.
Honig,
Here.
Irvin, Kingsworthy, Leash, Nicholas,
Here.
Orkman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for February 2nd, the regular meeting. Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the Zoning Board of Appeals report. Commissioner Friedrich?
Madam Chair, we did not meet.
Thank you. And next item on the agenda is communications.
We don't have anything that came through. What about from your end? No? Oh, yeah, let me check email. We don't have any emails.
Thank you. And next item on the agenda is public comment. If there's anyone from the public that would like to comment, now would be your last opportunity to do so. And seeing no one here, is there anyone online with any public comments?
I don't see anybody online, and not in the waiting room either.
Thank you. I will close public comment. And next item on the agenda is the annual report.
All right, so Planning Commission, you've received in the packet the draft annual report, and I'll be asking if you have any edits that you want to make to it, or if you want to approve it the way it was drafted. You're going to see the Community Improvement Awards and the winners. Very exciting. Yeah, but let me know if there's anything that I should be looking at. I tried this time to add into the development section a couple of as-of-right developments as well, just because I think usually we tend to highlight the bigger types of developments or uses that tend to come to the Planning Commission for a special use permit. But there's so much that goes on in as-of-right development, and we felt that we could highlight some of those. So I worked with the Building Safety Department to choose, so you can see there, it's a house with an accessory building that got built to be their art space, and we thought that that was a very neat building. So yeah, if you have any flags on doing that moving forward, let me know, but wasn't sure of the scope of that section, but I thought that we could highlight as of right development too.
Is Russell Street spelled with two L's or one L? Because it's one L in here, and I'm wondering if that's a typo, so I thought I would point it out just to double
Good
check that.
flag. Okay.
I think it's two, but
I think it might be two,
Yeah.
but I'm not 100%
I don't know.
right
Yeah.
now.
I don't drive down very often, so.
I think, yeah, I mean, looking at it, it does kind of look like a typo.
Just
but-
doesn't look quite right.
Right. I could be wrong there, so.
You know what they say, Russell or Russell.
Any other questions or comments regarding the annual report? Okay, next item on the agenda is the staff report.
So we did pass 3 site plan reviews. One of them started in December, but it was completed in January because we had to work with the applicant on missing information. So that is for the Texas Row House, so it's SPR 22-19, 2177 South Mission. That was an administrative review. And it was a dining room addition and parking lot work to their existing restaurant. The next one that we passed, we approved all of them with conditions. The conditions were just that they had to comply with the building safety, public works, and public safety conditions. So just going back to the second item was a site plan review 23-04 for 519 East Pickard. It was a minor SPR that we approved, and it was to change the use of an accessory garage into a warehouse. This property is located in an SDI, so industrial zone, and so the property owners basically rent the house that's there. It's a non-conforming house, and then the garage that was a detached building next door. It's a very neat site if you ever want to look at it. It has a very nice historical character. But they basically use that garage for storage space since the owner is a contractor. And so we were able to allow that garage to be now used as a warehouse. And we just made sure that the use was legal in all the documentation. So we work on that. It was interesting, and I think one of the things that we had to go through is to make sure that you can have two different uses in the same tax lot. And it's something that we worked internally to make sure that that's allowed. And yeah, it was I think a slightly different case, but we made it work. And, property owners are very happy with the result because I think a lot of contractor businesses, they are out of the city of Mount Pleasant. And so finding, creative ways to make that work in the city can be helpful. And then the last item is a site plan review 23-05 for 1706 South Mission. It was an administrative review, and they proposed a small building extension, facade alteration, and parking lot work for Garden Food Services. They're doing a very nice redo of their facade, doing a really minor addition in the front, kind of a bump out in the front of the property, and we approved that. We worked with them on the transparency requirements and some of the those more design requirements that we have in the zoning ordinance to make sure that they are compliant. So yeah, I think they're going to be hitting the ground soon on that. Any questions?
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to adjourn to the work session.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Hearing adjourned.
I was gonna say nay to just be a idiot, but.
Oh, then we have to take a roll call vote.
Yeah, roll call vote. I think we should probably discuss this a little bit more. So.
Gordon Food Service, AKA Greek Food.
Yeah, man, I need to get my Euro, that's where I get my Euro meat from, bro.
Well, we prefer to get it from what, Detroit area.
I don't go to Detroit like that.
So are we meeting in here for the work session?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if you were in a little break, because I know that sometimes you do that.
Our meeting was only like 8 minutes, so.
Yeah, if you need to stretch. So the only item we have is to talk about the work plan. This is coming, I guess, 1 month later than what you're used to. So you received in your packet, it's in the last page, a list of items that we could potentially include in this year's work plan. And you see a big list because there were items that Jacob was not able to finalize before he left. So I did include everything that I found there, as well as items that were not flagged last year as a priority, but was still discussed or left by him in different documents. And I think the draft schedule that he also issued in March last year. So I brought all of them here because I don't want to miss any work that you have done in the past, any thoughts that you had regarding, changes to the zoning ordinance. And today, I think, and then I added 3 new items that are in the very end of this list as well that I can talk about. But I wanted to have this discussion with you to basically see if there are any new items, so anything that's not in this list that you're interested and you want the staff to look at. Any items to be removed that you don't think is something that we should even spend time on. And then prioritize which items you want to see coming, for the Planning Commission early on, with the idea that I wouldn't do a schedule that we have one work session every month, because we need a lot of time to prepare and brainstorm and see what are the zoning issues with each of these themes. But yeah, let me know if you want to talk about any of these items. There are some of them that actually would need your expertise and memory to see what specifically they were about. So I think it's a learning situation for me as well today.
Manuel, you have this a list that you say here you want to be a 2023 and 2024 list?
Yes, I also, thank you for reminding me. I wanted to know if you would like to set a schedule for 2023 and 2024 because of the long list, and some of these items can be pretty complex. I would say the first one that I added as new business, zoning for economic opportunity, is a project that could include several text amendments within itself. It's something that I saw in the previous year's notes that you were interested in taking a look at how Mount Pleasant can be more friendly to businesses and allow for business expansion and development to occur without having too much hurdles on the process. So I've been doing outreach to stakeholders. We sent an email to more close to 50 stakeholders, and I'm doing one-on-one meetings to whoever's interested in speaking with me, and kind of flagging zoning issues that they have faced in the last couple of years when trying to do something different or expand or anything of the like. So yeah, this one could take time to prepare. Yeah.
How many do you think are reasonable to do in 2 years?
So I would say, considering our March, I would say maybe, like if this big one comes soon, I would say that one and maybe another one. And then for next year, we can do 4 of the smaller text
So
amendments.
6 total over the 2 years, you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, let's say we aim for 6 priority ones, and then you can also like add 2 extra in case we have time.
Yay.
Yeah. I like the optimism.
Well, it seems like you've already started to do some work for the first new item, so maybe we should add that one as one for that list.
I like that. I think just with how much we're seeing in our community that we're having a lot of renewable energy sources and stuff like that, I think that would be a really good thing to know about so that we're better prepared as that grows, because it's right here. I mean, like you can see the solar panels and the solar farms and things that we already have those kind of things going on right in our county already. So I think that would be important to know more about.
Yeah, and I think it also kind of rolls into are you talking about the zoning for EV chargers and renewable energy sources that you're referring to? I put a couple stars on that on mine, and I think it also kind of ties into economic opportunity as well. So I think I'd echo that. I think that's probably up on my list, and then I would also go into the renewables and EVs, because I think that it could kind of just piggyback and snowball off of each other.
And we did already have one case of a gas station that wanted to add charging stations, and we kind of had to work our way through it at the meeting. So it would be nice to have some zoning guidance in that too. So if we had something in there, I think that would really be helpful.
I'm going to ask if there could be some information, just because our community really does cherish the historical downtown and preserving that part of our community. So what kind of things can we, like what communities have been able to integrate this kind of renewable energy and retrofit it to that historical structure so that it's something that as businesses might be coming in and want to utilize that in our downtown area, like what would we need to look at in regards to supporting them with that?
So basically, preserve downtown while we are enabling for innovation and sustainability together, right?
I wasn't here last year, so I'm just curious what e-commerce fulfillment centers is about in terms of a zoning issue that we need to.
So I listened to last year's discussion, and what I could capture of it was there's no particular zoning barrier yet that was flagged on a detailed manner, but I think it's the idea of removing the line between when you have a retail space versus a retailer that also really, needs to sell through the internet, and make sure that they have space for logistics, for storage, and things that usually go more into the scope of industrial uses. But then retail is such a commercial use that we see fit close to residences. So how can we make sure that we have rules that work for this changing world without conflicting with adjacent residential neighborhoods, I think. Yeah. So I don't believe there was work done to see what the potential changes could be. And this is a kind of hard one. We will probably need to discuss this and look at precedents probably to see how other municipalities may have adopted that.
Can I ask for just a summary of what we were looking at in terms of home occupation standards? I ask in part because of the news item that was that came out today regarding Union Township's interest in tiny homes. So that's them. They're Union Town. We're not.
That's
Union
still a
Township.
thing. Tiny homes?
Tiny homes is a thing, and
Still?
they're talking about it with regards to homeless. Addressing the homeless problem or issue here locally.
So we just build a homeless shelter?
No,
That could be something.
they're actually going to build tiny homes again behind Hunter's Bar and Grill.
Ah.
And it's going to be a gated community. They're going to have X number of single family, single person, like, 1,000 square foot house, again, little tiny things. And then they'll have a little bigger 2-story for people with more than one person in the house. And then they'll have a community room where they'll be able to do laundry and have supportive services, wraparound services kind of for the families that are there. And it's supposed to be like a gated community, so there's a lock to get into it.
So I suspect that this term, home occupation standards, in our list does not really relate to that.
I would assume it was for
However,
like frats and stuff like that. Is that what it was kind of going on?
Having
for?
occupations in your home.
No,
Yeah,
like,
it's,
if you have a,
for
if
you
you
to
work
work.
from home.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah. It's the set of
okay.
rules that we have to enable work from home. And the city has, from what Jacob described last year, it seems to be a quite permissive ordinance. But to my experience, there are ways to make it even more permissive without creating a conflict with the residential nature of neighborhoods. So for instance, in terms of the list of home occupation uses that you could have, we don't allow a masseuse to operate from their house. This is such an old way of thinking about massage therapists, and something that could be modified to make sure we are, up to our 2021 or our century, I guess. The other one is the number of persons that you can employ. So right now, I believe that the city of Mount Pleasant doesn't allow any staff. But if you have, let's say, an architecture office or a marketing firm, and you just get several clients at once, you may need to employ one extra person. And there are municipalities that allow for one person to be employed. So that's the other example of things that we could look at.
So home occupation standards
Home occupation
As
standards
opposed to
for
home
work.
occupation standards. Super, thank you. I'm sorry.
I wasn't the only one.
Didn't know that was.
English is so flexible.
Glad I-
You
It
can make
really
mean
is,
anything.
it really is. It's good to know, because I was about to get my massage license soon, so we should amend that right away. No.
Depends on where you live.
Duh.
So that one, I don't think would take us more than one session, I imagine.
I was gonna say that's the 4 little one.
I would say it also wouldn't take a lot of time, like it shouldn't take more than one session to discuss the special use permit standards for all special uses.
Right?
Great.
Maybe even the same meeting.
Maybe so.
We're that good.
I actually, wanted to have some background on that one. So it's from the 2022 list, right? Special use permit standards for all special uses.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been on our list since before then. I'm not sure, but like when I think of special uses, I think of some of the weird ones like billiard halls or like some of the really dated stuff that doesn't need to be a special use.
That was
Palm readers, right?
Palm readers.
Yeah.
That was a heated meeting, if I remember.
That one you passed already. That was a special
we did
regulated
that. That
use.
was,
But I think we still have some.
gonna
so-
We're the palm reading capital of Michigan, I believe, so.
So
probably-
it sounds like it's similar to what I have added as my second bullet point in the new items. So I'm going to try to rephrase it just to make sure I got it right. Is it that you'll be interested in looking at all the uses that require a special use permit and see which ones could be potentially approved as a right?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, I don't know if that's really the case because when the special regulated uses have different standards than a regular special use permit, right? So, I mean,
So
some
it's
of
the
them might,
special
some of
regulated.
them it might seem silly to have a special use permit requirement for those. So,
Well, maybe that second list are ones that could be administratively approved, though.
yeah.
So we look at the 2 lists and we say, which ones need to come here? Which ones can the staff do and which can be by right? Right? That's kind of where you're going with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's give Manuela more to do and less for us.
I was gonna say, get
I
it off
want
our
to
plate.
have more time on your end so we can pass policies and, and changes, yeah. And yeah, I've been attending several conferences when I can, and definitely, I've heard this sentence, the permit, the actual permit kills it. I heard that several times, that even the perception of having to apply for a special use permit and come to the planning commission generates a lot of anxiety on the applicant side. They're not sure if they're going to be approved. They don't understand exactly how that works. And so by removing that additional barrier, it can really open up the doors for more development, and especially development that's coming from outside of the city and developers that are not used to how we work here. So yeah, but let me know, I guess for now, I have as priority zoning for economic opportunity, and then the sustainability item with EV chargers and renewable energy. Should I add, what is the next one?
The special use permit ones?
The special use permit, okay. Oh yeah, what about home occupation? It's a small one, whenever we can fit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Probably the floating overlay district is, I don't think it's very sexy to talk about, but we probably should. Just
okay.
because I see the point. Because some of the standards that we have in the current zoning code would make gas stations look kind of weird if we pushed them right up against the sidewalk and had people go behind. So I'm not really a big fan of overlay districts, but I think in these instances it might actually work. So I think a discussion amongst all of us about how to move forward with that would probably be a good idea.
Okay, yeah, this is another one that I wanted to capture your expertise and memory on it. My understanding is that before this form-based code, there was a floating overlay along Mission Street that was kind of unpredictable because there was a lot of back and forth between the city and the applicant.
Yeah, a lot of negotiation for
A
that one.
lot of negotiation. I believe that there are different ways to tackle this issue of the ordinance not being right for certain types of uses, like gas stations and drive-throughs. We can potentially change the rules just for that, and you don't really need to do an overlay per se.
Okay.
We could create we used to call it a chair certification in New York. So instead of having to come to the planning commission, the chair could look at something that deviates from zoning a little bit, but still has pretty well thought and described set of requirements. And it's just a checkbox, okay, this all checks, and there's no time associated with the approval, no meeting needed. It's kind of similar to an administrative review that I can do on my end, but can be done by the chair of the planning commission if you want a little bit, more other pair of eyes, I guess, to revise it.
Okay.
But yeah, something that we could discuss.
Sure, that sounds good to me. And by my count, that's 6. So.
Did I miss? Let's see. Was the e-commerce the other one?
Oh, no. I had your 3, the floating overlay, home occupations, but we may not have to have a separate meeting for that, and the special use permit standards for all special use. But I guess we're combining those 2, aren't we?
Combining, yeah.
Okay, that's 5 then.
So are we gonna add the e-commerce, or are we skipping on that one, or is that part of the list? The e-commerce?
They're one of our 2 extra ones.
I'm going to be parochial and say I would like to include it because
All right,
it's
let's do it.
pertinent to things that I do. So
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm down for it. I remember talking about it, so.
I think it ties well with the idea of the big umbrella zoning for
Yeah.
economic opportunity, and we
Yeah.
can just put it all. This is how I like to work on text amendments. I personally prefer to have a large project. We can certainly parcel it, but I usually work on a big text amendment altogether to make sure I'm not breaking the zoning in between, because I'm usually the drafter. And so, we could take more time to develop something. I can come to you on work sessions to see where precisely we're going with each one of these items, but then take it all and draft at once and then pass it later in the year as a one text amendment. Not sure if you will be okay with that idea.
That's fine.
Okay, and then we can mark it, after we are done with the changes, we can certainly be more out there to conduct outreach to the technical community, developers, and things like that, just to show that we have been, changing the ordinance to make sure that we are up to our century, that we are business friendly, all of that. So I think it can be very exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
He's got
Anything
something
else?
against the 1900s.
Just because I feel I should ask, regarding housing, there is the attached residential rezoning consistent with the future land use map. It was an item from 2021. It's the first bullet point here. And it wasn't prioritized, so it got dragged to 2022, and then there was no time to finish it. I think in order, let me step back. So redevelopment ready certification, we are going to start the process now in March to be done within a year. So our 5th anniversary basically is next year, March 2024. And one of the things that we need to make sure we are doing is to implement the master plan. So if you are okay with it, I could include rezonings to match the future land use map. Whenever we have a chance and a little bit of time, if we could work on that from now until next March, I think could be helpful.
Well, it sounds like something we have to do, right?
Right.
No,
Oh,
No?
okay.
we don't have to. Yeah, but it's always good practice to make sure that we are doing that kind of on the early stage of adoption of a new master plan. I think this one was in 2020, right? So yeah, it's good that we don't let too many years pass by before we adopt the zoning map inconsistent with the future land use map.
Okay.
Anything else?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.